Hello, hello, hello. It's day 5 of the lead sprint, and we are just going to give everyone else a second to get here. But this is an exciting day where we're going to talk about from leads to clients, how to go from leads to clients. Okay, let's see. Is it the AI is trying to join? It is. Let's give it a minute and we'll get started soon. Hi, happy Friday. Welcome.
Hi there.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful. It's been a good week. Happy to be at the weekend.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
Just seeing if I could give everyone else a minute to be here. I know someone told me she would, Lisa said she wouldn't be here,
Okay.
but just want to see if anyone else is joining us today. If not, we'll just go ahead knowing that people are going to catch the replay anyways. So, yeah. I meant to message you yesterday, but I meant to message you to say that like I don't know if we like summed up the takeaways of like how else to talk about anxiety and like how the other things it's affecting, the health parts. But because I was looking through the transcript and I was like, I hope you did you I know you were taking notes, but like, did you kind of get the gist of
Yeah,
other ways? Okay, good.
yeah. And that's where I get stuck is in the crafting of not the offer, but the marketing or I don't even know what do you call it? Like how to
Messaging.
the
Yeah.
messaging, right?
Mhm.
So what I find myself doing is I'll use Chat GPT and I'll say, this is what I want to tell this is what I want the people to know.
Okay.
And then I give all my stuff, what I want to share. And
Mhm.
then they craft it in a post using my voice, my language, my words.
Mhm. It's a good one, and an additional thing to do, maybe an additional prompt to give it is, this is my program, this is what I'm offering. Help me anchor on external results, not just internal things that they can feel, but like what can they tangibly get? What's the end results that they can get? Like I would help you do these, for example, yoga exercises so that so that you can then have something tangible to market as well. Yes, you want to speak about the emotional part, but also give them the like so that why is all this important? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I,
Okay.
I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Looks like it's gonna be a small group today. I'm gonna just like share as though we were 1,000 people here.
Yeah.
And then when I send out the replay, I think everyone else will catch up. So today's day 5 of the lead sprint, and we're actually talking about a different angle today on how to go from leads to clients. Our goal this week previously was to get 100 qualified leads, and now we've gotten those names of people that we want to talk to. But how do you go from leads to clients? How do you make sure that you are you're not just acting like a beginner, because you're an expert, you have skills, you have experience, you have real clients that you've served in the past, and you ought to act like that because you're an expert. So, what does that mean? It looks like owning your expertise and selling it a bit more. But for now, let's celebrate. Let's celebrate this week. How are things different for you after this lead sprint week? Or like what has been particularly helpful during this week? Just anything that has come to you during this week, any realizations you've had, anything that has changed for you. How are things different for you after this lead sprint week? And what has been particularly helpful this week? Let's celebrate that. Okay. Hi, Talia. Welcome. So let's celebrate that. What has been particularly helpful from this week, or what is different for you this week after this time we've had together? Oh, please go ahead.
For me, it was the piece around the lead generator and how what I learned about it and how to use it and promote it. So that was really helpful for me because I had something and it was just sitting there. And I don't know how many eyes were getting on it. So that was really helpful for me. Thank you.
Lead magnet. Thank you. Thank you for
Oh,
sharing
lead
that. So
magnet. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
I mean similar. They serve the same purpose, but like it's also nice to think about the analogy of attracting something. A
Yeah.
magnet can be powerful, but if you don't put it near other metal pieces, it's hard for it to like you know
Yeah.
attract anything. So very good point to remember that
Yeah.
you need to also promote that lead magnet. Love that, Talia. I don't know if you're able to speak, so I won't put you on the spot, but thank you for sharing that. For me, it's been very nice to also be in close proximity with you all for this much time. I'm learning new things about how you're thinking, about your businesses, what areas you're really doing well, and what areas you're stuck. And speaking of areas you're stuck, here's what I've learned after 4 days together. Most service providers I'm speaking to, most of you have been in business for a while. You've had wins, you've made sales, you've gotten people results, and you really are good at what you're doing. But lately, it feels like maybe your audience has been quiet. Maybe it just feels like you need to figure out a new way to talk to these people, even though they're there. It's just like, are they really there? Are they listening to me? Is what I'm saying still resonating? I also know that your pipeline feels empty. You're starting to question maybe if what you know is still true. Are you your is the business still viable? You're thinking maybe I need a new offer, maybe I need to start over, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Those are the thoughts that are going through some of your heads um, in business because of the quiet audience. And I'm going to need you to stop that. I'm going to need to stop because you haven't stopped being an expert because the audience is quiet. You don't need to start over. You need to remember what you're capable of and do it consistently. What I'm also seeing is that the real problem is not just that the audience is quiet. When in all the work I've been doing with service providers so far, with established coaches, with business owners, people who've had results with clients, mortgage people, immigration consultants, when you start acting like a beginner when business gets quiet because like you start doubting everything. So like you're starting to act like you haven't had results before. You throw away what's working because you're not certain about what's working anymore. The things that have actually gotten you results in your business up till now, you stop doing that. You start to chase new strategies, whatever is new, whatever is shiny, instead of doubling down on what has already gotten you results. Instead of saying, okay, if I had results here before, perhaps I can have even greater results if I spend more time doing this, if I focus, if I figure out if it's just a small part that needs tweaking, as opposed to throwing away the baby with the bathwater, like they say. So this is exactly what uh, was happening to my client before we worked together as well. So I'm going to share quite a few client stories today, just so that you can help you maybe see yourself in some of them and see what's possible inside of my one-on-one coaching working together. So the first clients were my pharmacy clients who 5x their prices after working together. Let me share a bit more about them. So Kamoye, Camille, and Tanis were internationally trained pharmacists. Camille wasn't able to make this call, so we only had two of us on this call. That's me on the side. Let me just double check that nobody's waiting. View. Okay. Okay. Sorry, Michelle, is your hand still up? No. Okay, you good. All right. No one is waiting. Okay, so Camille, and Tanis were three pharmacy mentors. They were doing everything right. They had the materials, the expertise in, they themselves were internationally trained pharmacists. They themselves were people that had recently gone through the process. But it felt like they wanted to, beside the mentorship, where they were helping other people do the same things they had just done for themselves. And it was growing because people were referring each other, which is always a good sign that something is working. But they were getting tired. They were charging $250, and for the work they were doing, it was honestly not enough. And they wanted to grow. So how do you grow something that's already burning you out? And how do you create more structure? while also feeling like this is the work I'm supposed to be doing. The first thing we did together, honestly, was saying if you want to sell this more to the public beyond referrals, as much as the offer is good because people are referring each other to it, we also need to make sure that it's a money making offer. And we're going to go from just calling it a mentorship to clearly stating what you're going to help people do. If what you're doing is helping internationally trained pharmacists to pass their Canadian licensing exam, then how about we state that? And I said, not just to help them pass their exam, but to do it on the first try. We didn't land on that out of thin air. We landed on that based on research of their clients, learning that people who were taking this exam were taking up to 3 tries to pass it. And there's limits to how many times you can take this exam. There's cost that you incur with registering for the exam. So looking at all the math of the numbers, what is the cost of failure? What does success look like? What is the mental cost? We're like, okay, this is worth more than this because people's entire careers are at stake. So in reframing their offer, in adding more structure, in removing elements of what they were delivering that was burning them out, that was inefficiently done, in adding more systems to make serving clients easier, to make delivering the program easier, we're able to raise the prices from $250 to $150 actually. And when they launched this, they were able to close 7 new clients at the new price. So it wasn't just that we raised the price, we were actually able to close new clients at the price. um I remember that in the video which we did together here, they were saying how like they clutched their pearls when they heard about that new price. Like, how are we going to charge that? How are we honestly going to be able to do that? But over the time we spent together, they gradually got there. They initially said we're going to do 500 and 700, and I was like, okay, if that's where you're able to get people to, because there's 2 exams, then let's start there. But then they themselves, within the work we're able to do to show them the elements they were delivering, show them what growth looked like, show them how systems will help them deliver these both the group and the one-on-one elements of their coaching better. They were able to see that, okay, this is really worth more, and they came to that by themselves. One thing I wouldn't do is push you, because you need to be sold on your prices. If you cannot back that price up, you're not going to be able to talk to people about it. You're not going to be confident in saying this is the price. I've read in many places that you should charge as much as you're able to say to the mirror without, breaking a smile, without like laughing at yourself. So that's one client, and they were able to 5x their prices and sign 7 new clients in our work together and add structure to their businesses. One of the big things they wanted to do was launch to the public, meaning being able to generate leads beyond their referrals. So they started to tap into LinkedIn a bit more, realizing that people were already beginning to reach out to them on LinkedIn. So they started to create content more intentionally, started to share case studies of their clients, and that attracted even more people to them. And that allowed them to have a new lead gen source. Beyond that, they were also able to register their business. It was actually something that was giving them so much concern, but that we were able to knock that out in the first week of coaching together. Just registering the business. It's simple, but simple for me doesn't mean simple for everyone. So we work on that together. So this is an example of what's possible in working together. And if you want to watch the full 12-minute video we did together, it's on the sales call page, fopsy.ca/call. You can watch the video we did together there. Another client, Sachi, is someone who honestly I think she's a very interesting client to work with, because she had this really incredible niche business that was making consistent money, making around 3 to 10K per month. It was a range, and she was going to throw it all away because she felt overwhelmed. She thought she needed to create a passive course to get her time back. She felt like she wanted to get more of I think one of the things, the quotes I found from one of our transcripts was, I felt like I wanted to get more of my income from the online course. So I was looking for suggestions on how to make it make sense. Even though she did enjoy translating documents, it just felt like a lot of work. So the work we did together was make sure that she didn't have to throw all of this away. How did we do that? First things first, I helped her hire higher double her delivery times from 1 week to 2 weeks. That meant that she had more spaciousness in her delivery calendar. She wasn't overwhelmed by all the work. Even if she's able to do something in 5 days, doesn't mean that it has to be exactly 5 days. You tell the client that you're going to deliver it, so you can create more space so that when you're delivering work, you don't have to abandon your marketing, right? Which is what was happening for her, because she would be in seasons of intense work, and then there would be no time to create any new YouTube videos, which were the biggest source of clients for her. And that means then that when you're done with delivering work for clients, then you now have to start catching up on content again. And that means that there's gaps in your marketing cycle, but there's also seasons where you're just feeling overwhelmed, which is not a sustainable way to build businesses. So in addition to doubling her delivery time, we also helped her to source two right fit people to potentially add to her team. She's going to pick one, but honestly, just gave her two options. She was concerned that she wouldn't be able to find someone who spoke Japanese and who had YouTube editing skills, but she found two people that were a fit for that. We also truly did experiment with selling more of the course because she came wanting a course. So we tried to reach out to, she had a custom course called that helped very, very niche. Japanese flight attendants improve their Japanese essentially. And so we were reaching out to airlines and organizations that would need that for a while, but it wasn't working, honestly. And that's one of the things we'll do together. If you want to experiment with something, I'm able to go with you to see what it looks like. But also, I will tell you when it's time to wrap it up and let's pivot into something that is working. So we came back to, okay, your transition business is working. Why don't we double down there? She's like, yes, I'm happy to double down there, but I still want something extra. So we started to explore what is this extra and what could it look like? Since we know that the course is selling once in a while, but not quite. And then she said, I don't want to serve absolute beginners. I don't want to teach beginners. So, okay, beginners are out of it. But through multiple weeks of learning about her business, I learned about something called, okay, it's like IELTS for Japan, essentially like a test of spoken English, essentially. And she started to offer that service and about helping people pass that exam, the test of Japanese language exam, which is something that people at different levels wanted to have. That led to a new membership. So even though the course didn't eventually work out or wasn't her main focus, she was able to sustain her existing business by adding more spaciousness, but also begin to build out this new arm of business that was in line with her desire to have something that was less burdensome on her. So when I say 12 weeks is a long time, I mean it really is a long time in our work together because we're able to experiment, pivot, sustain, hire, and launch a new thing while also sampling her audience for like, is this something you would want? Is this something you would pay for? And that's the kind of things we do together. Now you would think all those results would be Sachi's favorite part of working together, but she said, just feeling confident in my choices of how to move forward, and having you to brainstorm with and chat with, and like having you to push me to try different things. It provided me with an opportunity to learn to do something new. She said like the vibes were honestly the best. So I was like, okay. I thought it would be all the results, but turns out it's also just having someone to brainstorm and bounce ideas off of, like a co-founder, like somebody outside of your head to work with that were good for her. So yes, we did pivoting together, but she really did value this emotional and mental gains of being confident in your decisions, which is one of the things that you don't realize you're spending time on as a business owner. The time you're using to second guess your decisions, the time you're using to wonder, is this okay? Is this right? You could just bring it to coaching and we'll talk through it essentially. But also, she had the strategic business growth and infrastructure to continue to scale sustainably that was added. And I helped her see the value of being so niche, and being able to enjoy this almost the green space where people who used to do this work are beginning to retire and recognize her as like the go-to person. And so that's creating even new opportunities. She actually ended up in our time together with a wait list of 10 people because like business was booming so much, which is why hiring honestly was also part of the work we did together. So that's the work I did with Sachi. And to show you that even at any level, when business is going well, you still need support and you still can do with having a one-on-one business coach. Okay, that's not all. Let me tell you about another client, T, who is a social media manager that overcame the anxiety of reaching out to people and sales call and putting herself out there. She really, really was nervous about what am I going to say to people? I don't want to feel like I'm using people if I call them. I don't know what I would say. And what if they say no? And the big mindset shift for her was realizing that she had an untapped network of people who already knew her and trusted her, right? So the way she put it was, I didn't know I had an untapped network that was just sitting, right? And there's people that have known me for years and trust me and generally just want to support this new thing I'm doing. And so the mindset shift was really big for her. What's interesting is I recently released, like, I had all these videos before, but they were listed as unlisted on my YouTube channel. So like during this week, I just thought maybe I'll make them public. And so I made this ones public. And this video particularly was titled How My Client Made 2,700 in 4 weeks. And someone commented, a troll commented, like, I wouldn't put this on YouTube. Like, it's not something I'd be proud of or whatever. I could have just gotten a McDonald's job. But for her specifically, her goal was to replace her income, which was about 3,000 at the time. So it's like, so being able to do that after trying for 2 years on her own and not really making any progress was a big deal. So a win is a win. the wins don't have to look like $10,000 a month, but if that's your goal, we'll get there. It can also look like replacing your 9 to 5 income. It can look like adding a supplementary source of income. It can look like being able to have something of your own, so that if layoffs are happening, you're not as nervous because you have something of your own that you're building. So maybe it's not grand, but maybe it's exactly what you need in this season. I remember she also had, when she came, she had like a lot of small services. And the first thing we did was like, hey, if you're going to make a sustainable income to replace your income, we need to consolidate some of these things and create an offer that really solves the holistic problem people have. So people need social media managers, but they don't just want you to come and shoot content. They want you to like just take care of the whole thing. So package something as the whole thing and sell that. And that's actually where the biggest big breakthrough came from. So I have clients from all across the board, and I just wanted to share a bit to say that it's not so much that your audience is quiet, it's that you have changed the way you're behaving in seasons when you think your audience is quiet. And let me get into that a bit more. What's actually happening when business gets quiet? But before I do that, just going to pop right in again to see that nobody is waiting to get in. I think we're good. Okay, what's actually happening when business gets quiet? What's happening when business gets quiet is that you start to question what's already working. Instead of doubling down on proven strategies, you start looking for new ones, right? These are 5 things that are happening when business is getting quiet. It's that you start to change, you start to doubt what's working, you start to think more about what could work than actually work, as in put effort behind what could work. If you actually audit your calendar, your time, you realize that you're starting to question what's working, and you're spending more time thinking about, is this going to work? Spending more time analyzing and maybe trying to tweak your offer, trying to create a new Brazilian lead magnet, trying to create a new entry level product, a new passive income product, then you are doubling down on what has been working. So you realize that the time you spend questioning what's already working instead of doubling down on the proven strategies is actually one of the reasons why you feel like your audience is quiet. These are the things that are happening behind the scenes when it feels like your audience is quiet, when it feels like business is quiet. But it's not just that. You also start to undervalue your expertise. You forget the proven results you've had. You forget that you're somebody who has done this before. It's not so much that you want to hit this ridiculous goal, is that you have evidence in your past, what you've done in your 9 to 5, what you've done 10 years ago, what you do in your sleep, that you just kind of undervalue. Because it comes easy to you doesn't mean that it's not valuable. You start to undervalue your expertise. You forget that you've already proven that you can get results. You forget that you have results sitting in your repository of testimonials, or people that you can reach out to like, re-engage their stories, so that you can share those stories, or so that you can even remind yourself. One thing that I have both in my career and my business is like brag sheets, having a list of ongoing achievements so that you can remind yourself of what you've done. Because otherwise you start to undervalue your expertise, especially when it feels like business is getting quiet. You start to forget who you are. The third thing that's happening is that you're getting overwhelmed by options. Instead of focusing on money making priorities, money making activities, you start to do everything: busy work, tweaking your website, tweaking your lead magnet, creating new offers that may not even make sense for the business. So you're just overwhelmed by options. All the things I could do. Yes, I know I could do all these things, but which one do I actually do? I have newsletters here, I have TikTok here. I'm trying. Every time I go on Facebook, it's bad news happening there. So you just feel overwhelmed by all the options rather than focusing on, okay, I know that every time I create YouTube videos, people have inquiries. I know that every time I go to a networking event, I meet somebody, and when I follow up, they introduce me to somebody else. I know that I can create an event like this where I invite people and then I give them something valuable, and at the end I make an offer. You forget those things and you start to do everything but the things that move the needle in your business. That's what being overwhelmed by options looks like. You also stop being consistent. You abandon marketing that worked because it doesn't feel enough. There's one more that I don't see on my slides, but I'm going to find it because it's really important. So give me one quick second. What you start doing when you okay. Yes. Oh, and it was the most important. You project your own uncertainty onto your audience. I don't know where it went, but it disappeared from my slides, but it's there. You start to project your own uncertainty onto your audience. What that means is that you're like, maybe they don't even want what I'm selling, right? And then that means that you also stop presenting it as much. So these are things that are happening when it feels like your audience is quiet. It's not so much that your audience is quiet, it's that your attitude has also changed towards your audience, right? So let me just go over those 5 things again in case you didn't catch them. You question what's already working, you undervalue your service, you get overwhelmed by options, you stop being consistent, and you project your own uncertainty onto your audience. You start to think maybe they don't want what you're selling, when really you're not just confident in the way what you're presenting, right? So how does that change? This these are things that I address inside of my one-on-one coaching, because I know that these are things that come up for us as service providers. The core things we focus on inside money making priorities is, well, things that make you money. It's in the name. Inside of my 12-week coaching, we focus on what I call money making priorities, that the activities that directly lead to clients and revenue. And broadly, there are a couple core categories I talked about yesterday. Having a money making offer, having money making leads, having a money making mindset, and they're all grouped under money making priorities, money which are like habits that build on these things. But if I were to present a loose framework, it would be this. We don't always in the first few weeks, we're trying to double down on your money making offer. It doesn't have to be this, because each person comes with different needs. That means that it's customized. I don't have a set curriculum that I'm trying to get you to go through. Instead, I'm listening to what's happening in your business so that I can give you exactly what you need. It's almost like pulling what you need when you need it, like a human chat GPT. I don't know if that's a good way to put it, but like, I'm not like giving you, this is all I know. It's like, what do you need? And then we pull from there. But generally, we're trying to focus on a few things in the first few weeks. We don't need to create new offers, but we make your current offer irresistible. What are the elements that it's missing? Is it having that so what piece to it? Okay, I do XYZ, so that what? Because people are buying the results, the thing that it results in. We also make it irresistible by thinking about, what are the elements here that speak to the problem it's solving? How are you a guide? What are the reasons I should trust you? What proof points do you have? We think about, what does failure look like if I don't take action, so that you can think of the stakes more, so that you can also think about the price more. Because if you realize the stakes are a $10,000 lawsuit, or like a $20,000 hip replacement, or I don't know what you sell, so different things like, or being kicked out of the country if you don't get your immigration papers right, then you can better justify your prices to yourself, but also to your clients, and sell it better, because it's not just what you're selling, the service, it's what you're helping them avoid by giving them that service. It's what you're helping them add by giving them that service. It's what they never have to worry about, because you do this service. So we don't always create new offers, but we jazz it up. We jazz your current offer up. We make it irresistible, right? We identify exactly who it's for, what problem it solves. We craft a promise that makes people say, I need this now, not later. Your promise is really what you're selling it. It's not just the discounts. It's not the things you're saying. It is, what are you saying I will get, right? It is, this is how I help you get clients, because we're thinking of all these elements, and we get you quick wins. So at least a few clients, 1 to 2 clients, while building this foundation, because that's really what matters. Then in the next, 4 to 6 weeks, roughly, again, this is a rough, loose guide. It depends on what you bring to me. If your offer is solid, I'm not going to touch it. Sometimes I tell people, I don't want you touching your offer. Don't abandon it, because it's good and it has proven to get results. So why ditch it? That is what your brain likes to do in seasons where things are quiet, to ditch what is working. But for most people, after we have a solid offer, the next thing is leads. It's not enough to have a good offer. If you have, like I was saying to Michelle at the beginning, if you have a really strong magnet, but there's no, my science isn't also the greatest. Honestly, it's like words are my thing. But like, if there's no metal around it, no iron around it, it can't really attract anything. So the leads are the people. So if your offer can be great, but if it's great in the corner of a room, if it's great and nobody knows you exist, it doesn't really matter. So we identify the warm leads that you're ignoring that already exist in your area, but we also go out. What other outreach can we do? What other content can we create to pull people in? How can we go to them with outreach? How can we find partners and collaborators with outreach? How can we find podcasts where your people are to go take it to them? How can we do ads so that it's out there bringing people in even on days that you're not working? Technically, your money will be working for you. So we look at those pieces that we've talked about this week in leads, the outreach, the ads, the content, and double down on it so that you are able to leverage the partners you have, the people you have, the resources you have in content, the client results you have to generate leads. We also build up systematic follow-up. It's not enough to get leads. If you get leads into your world through a lovely seminar you did, but you never follow up, you don't have emails, you don't have anything that is getting to them regularly. It might not be emails, it could be a podcast you do, whatever your strength is. Another thing that I don't think I mention a lot is that with a lot of people, they're trying to get you to fit into their own mold. This is what I did to make $1 million, so therefore do the same thing. But you have your own strengths, and if you do only the same things that your coach did, then you are trying to put yourself into the mold of your coach, which is not super helpful. So it's about you. It's why it's personalized and customized to you, to figure out what are your own strengths and where should we double down on for you, because it's about you and your business. If it's not based on your strengths, you're going to struggle to keep it up, right? So this is what we're doing when we're thinking about how to get money making leads. We look to you and your results. One of the things I know with some clients is they don't want social media. Sometimes I go there with them. I say, let me understand why you don't want it, so that I know if it's you don't want all of social media, or you just don't want the fast-paced TikTok. Maybe you can do YouTube. Maybe you can do content that you do once and just put it out there, right? Maybe you can do ads, because that's a form of social media. It's just not the ongoing type. Okay, beyond the strategic, we also get to the mental blocks that you might have. Maybe you feel like you're using people when you're selling to them. We change those thoughts. We all help you understand the value you're bringing through, this is coaching, is not therapy, but we do get into your thoughts to try to understand where those thoughts originated from, and try to change them, replace the thoughts with new ones. If you have questions that your brain is asking, okay, but how do I make people not feel like I'm using them, then we'll get you to answer those thoughts, right? How is an exchange of value not using them, so that you don't always feel stuck when those mental blocks come up. The next thing we're also doing is making this consistent. Yes, we want to remove some platforms. If you don't like certain platforms, we can remove them, right? But we also double down on what's working, like Sachi did with YouTube and SEO and hiring someone to help. We create systems so that marketing can happen even when you're busy. And if you have the means, or you already have a team that you're underusing, this is the big one. Some people have teams that they're paying, but they're not doing the job. So you learn to use them well. I'm also very open to working with your team, so you can bring them to the coaching calls, by the way, so you don't have to do it all on your own. What we also do is to figure out how to scale sustainably. So yes, we get a money making offer, we get money making leads, we get consistent marketing systems, but we also figure out how do we scale sustainably. We optimize your delivery for breathing room for you, because you're one person, maybe you have a team, but it's still mostly your brain. So we figure out how can delivery make sense for you. But beyond optimizing for you, we also think about your clients. Is the container you are offering, does that allow you to deliver the program promise, right? If you're saying that somebody's going to get a job in 90 days, why is your program 6 weeks long, right? Things like that, so that you can create a container that allows people to get the results from you, because it's not just enough for you to get more money and get more clients. You need to serve them well, because we realize that these are the people that are going to spread the word about you in the future, right? So we think about all the elements of your business. We touch all the parts, right? Including you and how you're thinking about your business. We create processes for consistent results, but also processes for documenting those results. If you do good work and nobody knows about it, it's not going to help your business grow. It will make you feel good, but it won't help your business grow. So we also document those results that you have, and we build systems that you can repeat without burning out. So why does this work? It works because accountability creates results. You have accountability that creates results. As my pharmacy clients demonstrated, when you're accountable to someone who expects excellence, you show up differently. One person said, I know I have to do something, I have to have something, I have to have it done. Whatever I said I was going to do, I have to have it done before I talk to you. That's what one of them said, but many people have said this as well, that I know that I'm going to talk to you on Wednesday. So even if it's Tuesday night, I'm going to be like figuring out how to do what I said I would do. But you might think this is all about accountability, but it's also about learning to keep your promises to yourself, because you're the one who is building this habit. It's about ownership. It's about learning that this is really your business and you get to drive it. It's about realizing that I have control over the lead indicators in my business and I can do them. I can't say this business is not working if I'm not working the things I'm supposed to be doing. So accountability with me creates results, definitely. And every single week, you don't just talk. No, you actually talk and strategize. And at the end of it, you have a tangible, this is what I'm going to do this week. This is how I'll know it'll be done. I'm going to do 10 pieces of outreach to X people by this time. I'm going to recreate this piece of my lead magnets by this time. Like, so you will know if something is done or not when we work together. But it's not just accountability, it's also breaking down the overwhelm. One of the things that Tani said was that you would break this very big pie down. It was that we took this very big pie that we're thinking about all at once. And because each week you're a very actionable coach, if you can tell, it's always that this is the takeaway. This is what I'd like for you to go into this week to get done. And so it was always clear to you. You never had to wonder, what am I doing this week to bring in clients? What am I doing this week to make money? Even if you only had an hour to put in, you know exactly what to do in that hour. So that means that you break down the overwhelm. I have another current client, Toby, who he says he's been trying to try, like he knows what to do, but he's just settling in his head. And I said, okay, what we're going to do is that we're going to figure out what are the steps you need to do. And at the end of that call, he was like, okay, I didn't realize that the reason I had been settling is because I know what to do, but I don't know how to do it. And so like it's things like that that break down the overwhelm so that you know not just what to do, but how to do it, and you know how to measure when something has been done. AKA, I have done 10 reps of this, so it's done. Right? But it's not just this breaking down overwhelm, it's also getting out of your own head. Multiple clients have said the big thing for me with Lasha, one of my OBM clients who I haven't really shared about, is that she actually she's the one who had the 16th 8 months, so you've heard about her a little bit. The big thing for me was that just being able to bounce ideas off someone else, having you to bounce ideas off of was the key for me. So like having a thought partner, having a co-founder, helps you to distill all the pieces in your head and break it down into what you can do this week to make money. Sachi echoed the same thing about having someone to brainstorm with and chat with, just having you to push me to try different things. I mean, things that you know you should do, but you haven't been able to do. Having that execution partner means that you actually get it done. But it's not just these things, it's actually knowing how to get help with your marketing and your sales. How do I get out of my own head with my marketing so that I can put out this content? How do I get out of my own head with sales calls? I'm known to have mock sales calls with you on the calls we're having, just to see how you would, how would you would handle this a hot lead that you have. Some of our calls are done with you implementation support as well. And I think I'm going to talk about that very soon. Done with you means that on the call itself, we pull out whatever project you're working on and just begin to work on it. The outreach you want to do, the Canva piece you're creating, the website that's been keeping you stuck, we ship it so that there's no excuses, right? We take it out of your way. And so if this is already sounding like, okay, Fope, this sounds exciting and I think I want to work with you, you should definitely book a sales call. A sales call is on this call, we're going to have, I'm just going to ask you questions about what's going on in your business, what has happened in the past, what is happening right now, what's your current revenue, what do you think is stopping you from getting where you need to be? And then we have conversations about what is the current state, what the future state is, and where you think the gap is. And right on that call, I'm going to create you your own customized plan. This is what I think we're going to work on in the next 12 weeks. And then I say it back to you so that I know if it's resonating. If it's not, we tweak it. So we create the plan on that call. And then after that, I tell you more about the offer, which you already know. And if you're ready to work together, we pick, maybe you sign you pay for your coaching. And then next step is to pick your day. And next thing you know, they have me as your coach. And I still have slots for to start late September. So if you're looking to work together, don't stall. Please book your sales call. If you're listening to this in the future, book a sales call to work together. This is how to work with me inside of my one-on-one coaching. Maybe you have questions about how this process would work. I've thought about a few questions. I called them some anticipated questions. So instead of frequently asked questions, it will be some anticipated questions. I saw this on Threads and I thought it was a very nice name to call it. Maybe you're thinking, maybe I'm not ready. I'm not getting leads. I'm not getting the leads I need, right? So how's this going to work? Neither was T. She also thought that she had to find new people. But in working together, she realized that she had an untapped network of people that she already knew and trusted her, and we activated them to work with her. But if you feel like I really don't have anybody, then come. That's all the more reason why you need to work together so we can find new people. It doesn't have to be an existing network already. It can be where are your people. If you're trying to be a social media manager, aren't there businesses in your area that we can reach out to that you don't know already? What piece of content are you putting out to show what your work looks like? If you're a social media manager, do you have a page of your own where you're showing where the work will be and whatever kind of work you're doing? We get into the weeds of it. But if you don't have leads already, this is all the more reason why you need to come and let's work together. Okay, maybe you think, okay, I don't know if my offer is good enough. Some of my clients thought this, and in some cases, we created stronger money making offers, right? We would merge existing elements together to create a bigger thing pie that could be delivered. Another thing that I like to say is we start with your goal. If you want to make X amount of money per month, maybe you want to make 1,000 per month. That's a small example. And all your products are $20. Are you trying to say you want to sell 50 $20 products every single month? Right? The math is a really hard math. It would be easier for you to sell a single $1,000 thing or two $500 things, or yeah, than trying to sell 50 $20 things. So just making sure that the math makes sense, because sometimes You haven't even thought about the math of what you want to make and what you're charging right now. But for most people, it's not that you need to create new offers. Most people just need to make their existing ones irresistible. Like the example I gave with my pharmacy clients and calling their program a mentorship, and how we're able to change that from being called a mentorship to pass your PBC exam on the first try, right? To make your existing offer irresistible, we get clear on the transformation and who exactly it's for, as well as the elements of who is at stake, what happens if they don't take action, what happens if they do take action, so that you're able to paint the picture of a beautiful future for them. Okay, maybe you're still thinking, okay, but I don't think I can charge premium prices. My people would never pay that, right? My pharmacy clients actually literally said, oh, we clutched our pearls at the idea of 1,250. But when we looked at all the work we were doing, we realized that it was drastically undercharging, and the market proved them right, right? They closed 7 new clients at that new price. So but I also work with you. I don't force you a price on you. I don't say you should charge more. Take this, because it's you who has to sell it. If you don't believe in it, the reason we take you through the process of figuring out who it's for, what is at stake, what's to be gained, is that you build belief for yourself, but you also see the literal places they're already paying money. If somebody is trying to lose weight and they're a health coach, they're already paying for this in expensive health medications that they're taking. They're already paying for it in not being able to play with their kids the way they want to. They're already paying for it in the not feeling great about themselves. Like maybe those things don't feel like cost to you, but it comes at a cost to always be second guessing your look, right? So like we think about all the ways in which the product you're or service you're selling is helping the life of the people that you are serving, and that helps you see the true cost of it. It also helps you to build a case for why that price is that way to yourself, because you're the first person that needs to be convinced. You need to sell yourself on it before you ever sell anybody on it. So I will show you how you can charge premium prices and how you can back it up. If you were in yesterday's life coaching, you saw me challenge Lisa about how she said she can't guarantee results, or I can't guarantee that they'll get a job. But I'm like, you can guarantee that they'll get results, because you can create a container that allows them to stay with you until they get results. You can create a container that has strong recommendations where you say, I know that X people take, like my best clients take this amount of time. So therefore, I'm going to insist that you take this amount of time. I'm going to insist that you apply to this many jobs. I'm going to insist that you use this particular type of interview prep. I'm going to insist that you log how many jobs you've applied for. You're creating mechanisms that foster accountability, that make sure that that result is guaranteed if they follow the plan, right? So you create that plan. But if you just fold your hands and say, I can't guarantee the results, then you won't feel like you can charge premium prices. But if you follow it through all the way with systems in your process that allow you to guarantee results, that allow you to feel confidence in those prices, you will see that it's not just charges. Their prices are not just created in a vacuum. It also starts with your promise. What are you promising? You can charge 1,250 for pass your PBC exam on the first try, but not so much in mentorship, right? So the stronger the promise, the better the pricing also falls in. Okay, maybe you're thinking, I don't have time for all this marketing. Well, not everybody feels that. Some people feel that way. Sachi felt the same way, that she didn't have time for all this marketing when her business was growing rapidly. And again, it feels like my business is growing. Why should I be doing all this marketing? We created systems for her that made marketing easier. We also hired help, because sometimes you need external help. That help doesn't have to be permanent, by the way. It can be contract help. It can be part-time help. So you can right size that help to what you need. It can be AI help, right? It can be a better use of your existing materials. I'm speaking at an event soon, my coach's event actually. So if you're interested in it, let me know. It's called the high ticket economy, and I'm speaking about how to sell when you're not feeling on. And I share that there are 3 core ways that you can sell when you're not feeling on, by using your materials, your manpower, and your money. And there's so many tools in there. Even if you don't feel like you have extra cash to hire help, you can use materials from your past, like the results you've had. You can use materials from past presentations like this to chop up into content. So you don't always have to be on, like demonstrating your service to be able to sell. But if you already feel overwhelmed, I will help you use the time that you have more efficiently, so that you can get more done in that time. But I will also remove some things from your plate, because maybe the reason why you don't have time for all this marketing is because you have too much on your plate that is not driving results. So I remove things from your plate, and you will realize that you do have time for delivery. And like I said earlier, you're very welcome to bring your team to the call if you have a team or anyone that's helping you, and we'll walk through things, especially if we've had a conversation about it before. Okay, I'm almost done. Okay, but I'm scared of sales call. T was extremely anxious about making calls. We walked through the mindset that she was using people. We did mock sales calls, and I helped her see that she was serving her community that needed her services and wanted to support her. But if this is also about the sales call with me, no need to be afraid of that. It's literally a conversation. My attitude is consistent, whether it is here or on the sales call. Okay, what do you get inside of money making priorities coaching? Inside of my 12-week coaching program, we focus on what I call money making priorities. The first thing is 12 weeks of one on one coaching, 50 minutes weekly, where we work on your business together. Instead of having to digest 100 pieces of curriculum videos, there's no curriculum, so it's just 1 hour of coaching with me. So again, it's customized to you, personalized to you. This In addition to this, maybe you would have 1 to 3 hours during the week where you are executing whatever we agreed together on. This replaces endless chats with ChatGPT about what's working or not in your business. It stops that cycle of overwhelm and being paralyzed by the thoughts you're having and then ghosting your business. It builds the confidence and conviction that your business is growing and working. It gives you a thought partner and a co-founder. Where we can brainstorm things together, bounce ideas off of each other, talk things out, and find solutions rather than having you work in the corner of your room on your business alone. It helps you to learn to keep your promises to yourself because you have accountability and you know that, okay, I'm going to talk to Fope, so therefore I must keep this promise I made to myself to do this in my business. And you will have weekly updates. It's also flexible, so we are able to make adjustments based on your schedule. It is an excellent addition to your life. When last did you have someone to talk through your business with, right? But in addition to this, you're going to definitely, the goal of all of this is not just to talk, it's to help you to sign at least 5 new high ticket clients and to make this your best revenue quarter. How do you do that? You do that by focusing on the marketing and sales activities that generate revenue, stripping out busy work from your calendar, from your agenda. If you've been trying to grow 3 different businesses at the same time, we focus on the one that's actually making money with personalized attention. But it's not just 12 weeks of one-on-one coaching. It's also unlimited email support between calls. So that if you have an idea at 2 a.m., you can email me. We can troubleshoot tricky client situations. If you have an interesting client that's been troublesome, we can talk through it. If you want to prep or rehearse sales calls, we can talk through it. If you want to just like bounce ideas off of each other real quick or follow up on something that we said you do, you're able to do that as well. It also means that you have fast, actionable replies. You're never stuck or by yourself. You have all the support you need to grow your business. You also have done with you implementation. We don't just strategize, we execute together during our sales calls. You have systems and processes so that you can repeat your success consistently as well. That was supposed to be another point, by the way. So systems and processes so you can repeat your success consistently. But done with you is also a very big thing because it means that if you're ever stuck, right? If you're ever stuck on something, you don't have to stay stuck by yourself. You can bring it to the call and work on it together. I've had a client who she had her kids sick and she's like, but I couldn't do anything this week. I'm like, okay, we're gonna turn this call into an implementation call. That means at least you have worked on your business this week during this call. It's also real-time problem solving. When challenges come up, we handle them immediately. You get all of that. Okay, what results can you expect? You can expect, you know, price increases if you're already charging too low, like my clients Camille, and Tanis. 7 new clients at their new price point, over 8,750 in additional revenue. They went from overwhelmed to being confident in their business in 12 weeks. They added the business structure they wanted. They registered their business. They had their public launch and were able to grow beyond referrals. That's just from one client. Another client, Sachi, the Japanese translator, she went from an inconsistent 3 to 10K months to predictable 10 to 13K months and had a client wait list at the end of our time together. She was able to hire team members for marketing support. She doubled delivery times for breathing rooms. She created systems for sustainable growth. And that's also possible for you when we work together. My client T, the social media manager, overcame the severe anxiety from sales calls, activated her untapped network of warm connections, and built a systemic approach to networking and referrals. Really start shifting from that mindset of I'm using people to this is actually how I'm serving people. Lashao, my OBM and Facebook strategist clients, went from feeling like a failure to confident to landing 16,800 in clients in that time together to 3 more clients in the first 2 to 3 weeks, developed systematic systems to follow up, and really decided that this was going to be her way of getting accountability and making sure that she kept her promises to herself. The big thing that you will get for sure is knowing exactly what to focus on each week to make money. You will never have to doubt what you're doing. You will have conviction that your business is working. You'll have confidence in the work that you're doing, and you'll be clear about the next steps that you need to take. 12 weeks is enough time, and it gives us enough time to try things and course correct, like we did with Sachi when she realized that she didn't need a new course. You're able to see what works in your specific situation, not just theory, because it's just one-on-one with you. You're able to build sustainable systems and habits, not just quick fixes, and handle the emotional and mindset pieces that keep you stuck. Okay, for Koya, this is wonderful. What is the investment? The investment is 2,500 USD for 12 weeks of one-on-one coaching, or three payments of 850 USD per month. This month, September, if you sign up this month, there's two bonuses. The first bonus is the Q4 Money Now Accelerator, which is worth in itself at least $1,000. It's a 90 minutes intensive where we turn your maybe later prospects into paying clients before year end. And I know that you have people who have been sitting in your email list, who are in your world, and you need to reach out to. That's what this is for. The goal of this Q4 Money Now Accelerator is to get you clients very quickly, but also help you understand how do you speak about your products and your service in a way that makes it a problem to people, to a solution to problems that people have right now, so that it's not something that feels like, okay, this is nice, but later it feels like this is something I need, and this is something that will solve my problem right now. How do you think about all the things, all the benefits, so that you're selling it appropriately? That's exactly what this bonus is supposed to create, to give you the jolt you need to finally have clients now, and also know how to repeat this every single time you need a cash influx in your business. So this is for anyone that signs up with me before September 30th. If you book your sales call before September 30th, you get this Q4 Money Now Accelerator. So be sure to book your sales call at fopsy.ca/call. Second thing is a 30-day offer challenge. So for anyone that pays in full, aka you take the 2,500 payment option as opposed to the 850, you get to have a 30-day offer challenge where we get you in the habit of making offers. Most people will make more money if you simply made more offers. What is an offer? A clear request to work with you, right? Like, you really address people, and I also help you to understand how to be consistent. This is an issue that both established coaches and beginners have, and it gets established coaches acting like beginners and service providers. So how do you make offers? How do you identify the right people to make offers to, and how do you keep this as a habit? This is for anyone that pays in full this September. What is it like working with me? I'm a straight shooter. I think you know that by now. I just say what I mean, and I mean what I say. T said, you're a straight shooter, so nobody gets confused about what you're trying to say. You're very good at breaking things down. Like, I really struggled with execution personally. If you're somebody that really needs to break things down faster and needs to get to your goals quicker, Fope is for you, essentially, is what she's saying. She also said, you're very well-rounded in the sense that you understand. I added the extras, I should have taken it out. You're well-rounded in the sense that, like, you understand a lot of industries. I think from your experiences, you were able to even coach me on a lot of the creative aspects of things. Yes, on how to create a portfolio is what she was talking about. You understand a lot. And then when I was going through, and when I was going through a lot, you also mentioned a lot of things that helped me for mental health. And I think that that's really good that you have a well-rounded understanding of not just the business side, but also the personal side and how those things impact each other. Sachi said, the main thing for us is like the vibe, which I found very interesting. Like, what do you mean the vibe? After all the strategy work, I guess it was the vibe. The main thing for me was the vibe. So, like, if somebody is not sure, I would say if you've with each other, um, if you sync well, then it'll be good. So, but if you don't, if it doesn't matter how much knowledge someone has, but if the vibe isn't great, then that won't really happen. Lashal said, on the practical support, being able to get in the weeds with me, it wasn't just high level, let's do that. It was, let's explore it and let's talk through things. So I really get in the weeds with you. So all this to say, if you've enjoyed this lead sprint, you really should consider working together with me instead of my one-on-one coaching. It gets deeper, it gets better. And this is how you will sign at least 5 new high-ticket clients this quarter. This is how we go from leads to clients. This is how we figure out what's stopping you from consistent growth. This is how we figure out how to make this your best quarter yet, with an irresistible offer, with leads that are endless, and with a money-making mindset where you're able to troubleshoot anything that comes across your way. So make sure to book a sales call by heading over to fopsy.ca, which is spelled fopsy.ca/call, CALL. You can also scan the QR code on the screen to get there. So fopsy.ca/call is where to book a sales call. Now, tomorrow's preview. Just kidding, we're done. This is the last day of the lead sprint. There's no more days, but I want to say thank you for being here this week. Clearly, I lost all the energy and I spelled week wrong, but thank you for being here this week. I really do appreciate your time. I do appreciate your input, your questions, your vulnerability, and I look forward to working with you on a deeper level inside of my one-on-one coaching. If you're listening to the replay, this is for you as well. Every problem you have, we'll solve it together. I'm either going to have a solution for you, or I'm going to know why it's not working and what you need to do to make it work, which is a solution nonetheless. If you have any questions, you're welcome to ask them now. Otherwise, see you on the sales call. Questions?
No questions. Well, not right now. That's coming to me. This was really great. I'm going to book a call to see, yeah, and explore a little bit where I'm at and see how that could, yeah, how we could potentially work together. And
No worries at all. Thank you for being here, Michelle.
yeah,
Looking forward to seeing you on the call.
absolutely.
And if you have any other, if you listen to this and you know any other coaches or consultants who could use this, you can share this with them as well. It's not just anyone who's been here. I'm open to coach service providers across the globe, accountants, coaches, immigration consultants, the whole book coaches, everyone essentially. You're all welcome. So if you know anyone that could use this, you could also share it with them. Also, no pressure. This is this is intended to help you grow, and when you're ready, I'll be here. But this quarter is special because you had those goals you set for yourself at the beginning of the year, and if you haven't hit them yet, well, what's going to change if nothing changes is what we're going to say. Okay, that brings us to the end of today's call. Thank you for being here. Looking forward to chatting more with you on our sales call. Once again, that's fopsy.ca/call. See you the next time we have something like the lead sprint. I think this was really fun, so we'll do it again soon. Thank you. Bye.